Letter 5, May 19th. Shu. Maybe this letter doesn't fit with the book as a whole. When I'd written as far as the 10th letter, the book had already taken on a life of its own. It had its own aesthetic style, its own themes, plus the content and ideas were already mapped in my head. I've written nearly half of it, and the prose has found its own style organically. It seems I can't speak honestly to you through the book anymore. It now expresses more than what I thought I wanted to convey to you. It has grown denser, more beautiful, and you won't be able to appreciate its whole value until I finished writing it. It won't be a great work of art, but it could be a book of true purity, the detailed, thorough excavation of one very small field of a young person's life. Nevertheless, I still must talk to you. Apart from creating this manuscript, I still have to talk to you. There are too many things I have to tell you that would consume me if I didn't tell you. Promise me we'll talk for the rest of our lives, that for the rest of our lives you won't refuse to talk to me. As long as you're alive, please accept the fact that I must talk to you. I want to cherish everything about you, to love you while you still exist. I think you misunderstand me. You think I'm incapable of providing the qualities of tenderness and tranquility in a relationship. You think that my unstable, passionate nature will inevitably nullify these qualities. But as long as we love each other, they can exist in harmony. Shu, you misunderstand me and misunderstand our relationship. You disregard me and disregard the potential delight of our relationship, and so you want to discard me and discard our relationship, discard it completely, so that you even want to discard my being. But maybe now that you've gone through this abandonment process, you'll be able to discern what I mean to you and slowly wrap your mind around the whole me that you've discarded, my very being. But you can't ignore what I mean to you. You can't ignore our relationship. Even if I die, you'll still be in this relationship. Your body might travel, but your spirit cannot be abandoned. I had never thought about this before. I couldn't understand it, but having gone through such intense annihilation, I see it completely now. All of it, everything about you, everything about me. I can even see the whole expanse of our relationship. Do you believe me? Deep down, I know, not simply believe all of this. And now, I feel okay again. I can tell you, you are eternal. Really, it's not out of arrogance that I say I know. I've humbled myself in silence so I can devote more to you. Your reasons for abandoning me and your judgment about our relationship didn't take in the full picture. You've only cut one small branch from a tree so it still looks whole. You don't know that you love me, but in fact you love me deeply. For 3 years, you haven't really tried to recognize its features. One day, perhaps upon your death or mine, you will recognize it. By recognize, I mean that you will finally accept my all-encompassing love for you as for my own life, and take on this responsibility without it being a burden. Every stage of this evolution is essential. No single detail or chapter wasteful or unnecessary. Every stage of this evolution between us is beautiful. Osho said as much, and that has been my thinking too. Or maybe you've decided to turn your back on me totally and replace my love. Maybe you don't want me to ever speak to you again and won't allow me to love you. If so, then the truth is we must separate definitely. We can only be either wholly together or wholly apart. Otherwise, you'll just keep hurting me, and wounded, I will hurt you again. This is the fundamental pattern of the love we share. I've told you from the start, If you strum the kin wrong, it will crack and splinter. You must love me with your whole being, or go love someone totally different, or no one at all, but you can't have it both ways. These aren't my rules, and I'm not trying to order you around and control your life. I understand my own nature, and my nature connected to you has always been like this. It's so obvious to me. If you insist on strumming me the wrong way, this chin will continue to resonate sounds of love for you, but the sounds will be ear-splitting shrieks. I'm helpless to keep you from playing me in this way and will split and shatter. You keep hurting me and I keep putting up with it, as presently I'm still putting up with it until I'm broken, my flesh ground to powder, my bones to fragments. I recovered only to find myself right where I started, ready for more. Your lack of wholehearted devotion doesn't mean much in terms of our whole relationship, and the fact that I'm shattered doesn't mean much either. If my words can help you understand the truth that you love me, or help you on the path toward and not away from true devotion, then all will be well. If in the future you continue to treat me in ways that are unacceptable and harmful to me, I will be forced to live as a wounded being and will bear it and endure until my final breath. I can't make you treat me the right way, but I can try to describe the explicit nature and being of our love. So either love me unconditionally or have the courage to face me and tell me you want to separate forever and don't want my love anymore. That you forbid me from ever offering this love again, reject me boldly, and then we'll part forever. Only these two options I deserve. Nothing else matters and would only cause more harm, making it impossible for me to respect you. Please understand that if you can at least reach a place of inner honesty, then you can never really hurt me, even if we're separated for the rest of our lives. As you've said before, we'd still love each other anyway. The only problem left is that I know I belong to you, while you still don't know if you belong to me. But from before birth to the afterlife, to where they overlap, we belong together. We must acknowledge this any way we can, no matter how long it takes, and no matter where it takes us. Shu, my most beloved Shu, how can I finally make you understand what I've experienced firsthand of our tree of love? Shu, listen to me. You're my life. You're my everything. I belong to you, past, present, and future, and forevermore. The words to belong have been there from the beginning, but I didn't understand until now that it meant you. What I understood as to belong was very different and had nothing to do with you, nor with your impoverished love. There was no comparison for me. To belong to anyone, it's not a choice. To love you is a suffocating form of fate for me. It upsets me that you aren't maturing at the same pace as me, because it's you, Shu. Any sentient being can see that I belong to you and no one else. Here is my life bound. I am ready to accept my fate. Though sometimes I sigh to the heavens for sending me someone to belong to who matures at such a vastly different pace, in truth there are also times I can't stand how you treat me. Lately, especially, I felt unloved and cursed, and as much as you treat me like an enemy, and as much as I sense your cold indifference, all these things are part of a story where everything happens for a reason, and sentiment is genuine. Hard to say that whether I'd like you now. Who were you this year? Someone who deserved my love? I refuse to believe that this year's you represents the whole you, because I can predict what gifts and what challenges lie ahead of you, and I know the effect my irrational explosions had on you. So I refuse to cut you out of my life entirely. You won't always be like this. I'm convinced that you're going to grow until you're even better than your past self, the self that loved me completely. And more important, when you dumped me and I was nearly trampled to death, I finally understood that my love for you was no disease. No, it didn't mean I was dependent on you, nor was I in love with you for purely physical reasons. Nor did you fall in love with me because I'm so fabulous. No, our love was bigger. It was fate. I have no idea when you'll sense this aspect of fate, but you will. I am part of your fate. Whether our love is worth it or not is irrelevant. So what if there's someone nicer than you or prettier than you? It doesn't change a thing. Come and hurt me more. You still mean the same to me. I belong to you. Anger has turned me into a disgusting creature, and since you don't love me and you continue to hurt me, I treat you like an enemy. I tell myself I must first transform the animosity and resentment in my heart, or try to persuade you to transform these things so I can start treating you with goodness again, and you could regain your previous state of beauty and kindness. It's as if I have to swipe the dirt off your face so you can reveal your original face to me. After your nastiness worsened to the point where I hated you, and you hurt me worse still, it's not that I lost all my willpower or wasn't free to walk out of the door. In fact, the more I understand what you really mean to me, the more determined I become. The freedom I have to distance myself from your cruelty grows. Love is not merely need alone, and what is more important is loving you and making my true nature comprehensible to you. Even far away, I still belong to you. The location of my love will never change. Nobody else can occupy that space. Distance isn't a means to abandon you. I can't bear the way you treat me. My unwillingness to remain in a relationship that has turned ugly and completely resists my good nature may also convince you to admit your mistakes. I won't indulge your dishonesty or bad behavior. I'll find a way to tell you when you're behaving badly. I just hope you won't leave me and will let me love you forever. And let yourself always be loved by me, so we can cultivate a love for eternity. I hope I won't be forced to leave you again. I hope I won't be forced to leave you because I can't take it anymore. I've already lost you. I've got nothing more to lose, even if you were to marry someone else and have children, or even if you died. I couldn't lose any more than I already have. Do you understand this at all? One can talk endlessly about the sorrows of life, but only art can express it precisely. I felt sorry for you. I felt sorry for others I have loved, and I felt sorry for myself. But this sorrow is not a burden I can share with you anymore. As it only brings more sorrow thinking about how we used to share these things with each other. Yes, we used to share life's annoyances, frustrations, pain, beauty, new experiences, new discoveries, our thoughts about each other, our yearning, love, tenderness, and adoration. Yes, Shu, my deepest and most beautiful love, even though in the past there were times you couldn't entirely comprehend my views, and even though I became frustrated with your perceptions of me, and I casually negated your shallow experience. Still, over the past 2 years and 8 months, we actually united to become one self that could share the joys and pain of life. And this compound self was something I couldn't abandon even if I died. It was our love. I'm sad that you discarded this compound self, and I'm sad that you no longer want to share the joys and burdens of life with me. I am sad, so much, endless sadness. P.S. I found the envelope I had prepared for my 5th letter, which I had thought I'd already mailed by accident, so I put my 10th letter here in the 5th letter's envelope.